All right, looks like we are live. Thank you very much for joining me, those who are jumping in right now. At least we're not streaming at practically midnight tonight. So let's go ahead and get started on what's going on over in Ukraine. When you join in, absolutely chime in. Let me know you're here. Be delighted to know who's coming in and being a part of this news broadcast here. Let's go ahead and get started. And not that one, this one. And we'll start with the most important news that's coming out overnight, and that is yet another massive missile strike on Ukraine carried out by Russia. 72 targets destroyed, 99 launched. I think it actually may have been 100 because I did see somewhere where there was an 11th Kinzhal missile. The Ukraine has reported that, let me see if they've got the numbers here. In the first wave, they attacked with Shaheds from the southeast direction with 35. Those were all shot down and reported earlier in the day. Then they had 16 strategic bombers go into the air and launch at least 70 of the Kh-101, 55, or 55 air-based cruise missiles. And then they launched 10, I believe it's actually 11 Kinzhal aeroballistic missiles. And then, of course, 3 Caliber cruise missiles. 4 anti-radar missiles were also used from Su-35 aircraft. So this was a massive coordinated strike, much like that which was done on December 29th, though not quite as large by a significant margin. So a lot of this is another massive attack on Ukraine carried out by Russia. One of the missiles apparently got intercepted and ended up falling into the river, actually, which I thought it's interesting and cute and funny. There's a lot less funny as we continue on with today's video. Images of the aftermath of the attack here, with police and medics working tirelessly and endlessly to take care of all of the damage that was carried out by Russia's strikes. A lot of emotional pictures here. However, the power was only out for about 86,000 people for about 12 to 14 hours. They had fully restored power as of about 4:20 this afternoon. And basically, Russia spent billions I think it's $900 million to take out the power for about half to about 2/3 of a day. 5 people were killed as of this report, and another 127 were injured. Again, the human toll is getting to be just absolutely catastrophic. The armed forces of Ukraine shot down 10 out of the 10 Kinzhal missiles, and they say this is a record. This is all done with the help of American Patriot systems. That was reported by General Zaluzny. Russia attacked Kiev as always. No military targets were hit. 43 buildings were hit, and there were many injured and killed, of course. Vladimir Putin actually claimed that they do not strike civilian targets, and yet what buildings are they constantly targeting? Civilian ones, which they then claim, they had military, people in them. No, they didn't. And nearly all cases, there were no military personnel harmed in these incidents. They're striking at civilians and civilian targets, hotels, hospitals, places that are not military, car dealerships. I think that's in here somewhere. Here we go. Russians destroyed a Tesla dealership in Kiev. An underground gas pipeline was struck as part of that. Number one, it's kind of crazy that they'd have a Tesla dealership in Ukraine right now. Did see a separate video where a Citroen dealership was also struck. Apparently, cheap automobiles or passenger cars are a major military target for Russia these days. During the attack, the Russians managed to drop one of their own missiles on one of their own villages. They called it a premature descent of the weapon, as I recall. No injuries, but there was a lot of damage to the village itself. Initially they said that this was a Ukrainian armed forces attack, but then they admitted that it was one of their Russian missiles that was actually on that town of Petropavlovka. Belgorod also took some hits, though again it looks like they're taking hits because their air defense missiles are exploding over the town instead of protecting the town by being in front of it. They claim to have, the Russians claim to have destroyed 4 Vilka missiles over Belgorod. Now, at least this time they're blaming a weapon system that actually has the range to hit Belgorod. The Vilka missiles have a range of 70 kilometers. At least those can be launched from actual Ukrainian territory. I'd like more proof. Igor Shushko actually upped the number that were launched to 110 and stated there were fires throughout the city of Kiev. They also said it was a record number of drones that were launched. And Charles Michel, who is the European Council president, stated, for anybody believing the rumors that Russia is genuinely interested in peace talks, the record number of drones fired in the last 24 hours at Ukraine showed the true intention of Moscow. The attacks are all the more cynical given that the increase in their intensity coincides with the New Year holidays. He added, Ukraine's spirit cannot be broken. The EU stands by Ukraine. Another report on the Kinzhal missiles. They also added there were 62 cruise missiles and 35 UAVs destroyed. That is a lot of hardware to be throwing at Ukraine. And it's pretty clear, at least to me, that the plan is to try and drain Ukraine of all their air defense resources so that these strikes can be more effective. But that would seem to me that they would use some kind of some cheaper options rather than launching all their high dollar equipment. But this is Russia. I added this one in because the Kyiv Independent actually shows the moment that some of these people were reunited with their pets and the emotions they had with it. The birds, and she actually had several animals, a cat and a gerbil, I think it was. A guinea pig, sorry, there it is. And the rescuers managed to recover her animals from the balcony, and they may have been in some smoke, but they were still alive, despite all the damage and the fire. A couple of images here. Again, the fact that Ukrainians take the time to take care of the animals as well as the people shows the caliber of people that Ukraine has. And the positive news at the end. Amidst the chaos of a massive Russian missile strike on Ukraine on January 2nd in the city of Boyarka, Kiev region, a baby was born in the shelter of a hospital. According to Ruslan Kravchenko, the head of the Kiev Regional Military Administration, during the rocket attack, a child was born in the shelter of the maternity ward of the intensive care hospital in the city of Boyarka. The boy weighed 3,500 grams. By the way, you're probably hearing a bells in the background. That's a nearby church tower. I'm not sure what 3,500 grams is in pounds, but let's check. 7.7 pounds. That's a healthy sized baby boy. And that's the latest on the missile strikes in both Russia and Ukraine. There are also attacks on Kharkiv and I believe Odessa also as well. They're really focusing these attacks in trying to get through these air defense systems and cause as much damage to civilians as they can. Let's go and move over to news out of Ukraine real fast here. Ukraine rescued an illegally deported teenager from Russia. He's now 19. He was 17 apparently at the time he was taken. He was among 31 children deported to Russia, also known as Group 31. This is kind of funny here. In various locations, Zaluzhny graffiti is becoming commonplace. And initially I thought this was a picture of some soldiers taking a picture with the graffiti, until I realized this is a diorama of soldiers posing with the graffiti of Zaluzhny. Really talented artist here doing this work. He said it was challenging to portray these intricate details, such as the Ukrainian camo, and these figures only stood 2.5 inches tall. Just really, really impressive work. But overall, there have been a lot of this graffiti, basically praising Zaluzhny. He is extremely popular in Ukraine right now. President Zelensky gave an interview to The Economist here. And there's some things he mentioned I kind of want to run through real fast. The mobilization of Ukrainian society and the world as it was at the beginning of the war is not present today. I've got some music playing, don't I? Let me get that killed. I apologize. Get that taken care of there. I'm also not seeing any chats, so if you're here, please chime in. Apologize for the extra noise there. Did not need that to have that up. Anyway, President Zelensky stated the mobilization of Ukrainian society and the world as it was at the beginning of the war is not present today. That needs to change. Maybe we did not succeed in 2023 as the world wanted. Maybe not everything is as fast as someone imagined. But the idea that Mr. Putin is winning is no more than a feeling. By giving us money and providing us with weapons, Europe supports itself. They save their children, not ours. If Russia is allowed to take Ukrainian children, they will take other children. If Russia violates the rights of Ukrainians, it will violate the rights of people in the world. This is just, really, this is the long story short here, is that there is no indication that Russia intends to stop anytime soon. The Ukrainians have managed to demine another 6,171 mines and explosive objects in the December 2023 timeframe. The country is going to be littered with these for decades to come. The Ukrainian State Border Service has been reinforced, they say it. They've got some new hardware, basically. These Zu-23-2 anti-aircraft guns. Now, these are 1960 era 23mm cannons. They're really effective against drones, though. They're slow flying. Those sights are good for taking out those types of targets. Really interesting to see them using whatever hardware they have available. That's pretty much it on Ukraine news. So let's go ahead and take a brief pause. If you have any questions, go ahead and pipe them in here real fast here. And I'm going to get a drink of water. And I'm back. Let's go ahead and continue on with news out of Russia. Belgorod region, they're stating that Shebekino, which is a tiny village on the border of Ukraine, has been shelled again. I really would love to see some of the details on this because I don't think there's anything in Shebekino of particular military interest, though I take that back. I think that you Russians have stationed a unit there, and that might be what they're targeting. In this case, an administrative building of one of the industrial enterprises was struck with broken windows but no fires. Weird story out of Russia. In Taganrog, a man with a grenade attacked a store. He came in, demanded cigarettes for free, and threatened the seller. When the guy said no to the cigarettes, the guy pulled out a grenade and threatened him with it. A cop happened to be in the store, though, immediately engaged the man and neutralized him. It turned out the grenade was real. It was a legit live grenade with a potential damage radius of 200 meters. What are they putting in the water over there in Russia? I swear. According to satellite information, Russia has withdrawn all their Black Sea Fleet ships from Crimea, and they're saying that they've all ended up in Novocherkassk or over in the new anchorage they're working on over in Abkhazia. It's actually Georgian territory that Russia has taken control of. But as of the last day of 2023, Russia has withdrawn all their warships from Sevastopol, and the port of I believe the port of Novorossiysk is their next destination. The conclusion: no port in Crimea is safer for Russian warships. Ukraine effectively forced the Russian fleet to leave Crimea. More barriers have been put in place on the Kerch Bridge. With the latest of the sea drones they're seeing, especially the ones loaded with missile launchers, it seems like the Russians are getting even more paranoid. What would be really interesting, in my opinion, would be to add torpedo launchers to one of those drones and put they've got some tiny torpedoes that they could outfit one of them with. Some of these boats are large enough you could do a full-size torpedo even. And with the amount of explosive hardware in one of those torpedoes, I wonder if it might be able to effectively damage or take out some of those support structures. That's all theoretical, though. Ramzan Kadyrov has been getting a little bit, talking a lot more lately. He basically said if anybody has murdered a government official, that their family, if they can't be found, then their family must be killed. And that's some serious blood feud stuff going on there. Feels really medieval, to say the least. But it's also what Russia used to do when they couldn't get their hands on somebody, is they would punish the family of the person instead. And there have been some reports, I've not been able to positively confirm them, but the Russians have shot down another one of their Su-35 fighters in northern Crimea yet again. So I'll be watching for more on that, but in the meantime, watch out, Russians. Your own air defense systems are your own worst nightmares. All right, let's move over to the international front. Whoops, that just moved to where I didn't expect it to. During this missile strike, the Polish actually managed to scramble some F-16s before the strike and patrolled the airspace watching for these missiles. There were also a couple of American F-16s and a second flight of F-16s from Poland that were activated during this event. But as far as I can tell, there were no missiles that went over Polish territory this time. The Poland-Ukraine border continues to be a problem. I think there's still trucker strikes going on, as there's still 3,000 trucks queued out the Poland-Ukraine border. They're being blocked yet again. There's official confirmation that Elon Musk deliberately blocked Starlink during the first attempt to deploy the Ukrainian unmanned surface vehicles in their attack. So it's really clear that he knew exactly what was going on and he decided to stop it outright. Unwar-related news, but it's something that I noted for a couple of reasons. This is an Airbus A350 at Tokyo Airport. The plane struck a Japanese Coast Guard aircraft. I do not have a report on that aircraft's disposition. Made an emergency landing and caught fire. They did evacuate everybody aboard, more than 360 people, and the plane itself was then consumed in fire over the next little while. I believe the Japanese Coast Guard plane was entirely destroyed, but again, I don't have good information on that at this point. There were some reports that Turkey might allow those new used minesweepers that were given to Ukraine to transit and get into the Black Sea. However, Turkey came out and said no. According to the Montreux Doctrine, any warships will not be allowed to pass as long as there's an active war zone. And there it is. The Financial Times discussed the potential of seizing Russian reserves and stated it's the right thing to do. Apparently, this has been basically a pattern since the Napoleonic era, where war reparations are common in peace settlements. It's usually about 20 to 25% of the GDP of the country involved. Let me see if I've got it here. Following the Gulf War, Iraq made some $52 billion in war reparations that were paid off by the end of 2022. Haiti, Germany, France, and Finland have all paid significant damages over the last 200 years. The difference being that these were all monies paid after the war when they lost effectively, and a peace settlement does not seem likely, so might as well get it done now. A German deputy states that most of the German-supplied Leopard 2A6 tanks are currently in non-combat condition because of a lack of spare parts. They did call for a more robust resupply effort to get those repairs done for those tanks and get it back in the field. And the Polish chess player Jan Krzysztof Duda has refused to shake the hands of a Russian war supporter against Ukraine, Denis Kismatulin, during the World Rapid Chess Championship. And you can see that he's got an expression on his face that says he really does not want to be across from this man. And that's everything on the international front. Now, I've only got a few things on the front lines, but I'll take a brief pause right here. Is there anybody who has any questions before I continue on? I'll grab a drink of water and we'll continue on. Oops, I think I left my microphone on. Don't worry, did I have my microphone off? Oh, well. If I did, it's already too late. The situation on the front lines has not changed much at this point, so let's go ahead and take a look at what we do know. There is in southern Ukraine, a pair of Ukrainian M30A1 Gimler's rockets hit a newly fielded Russian 1K-148 Yastreb AV radar complex. Oh, let me get this switched over here. Get the video up. There we go. Literally yesterday, Russia announced the deployment of this weapon right here, this weapon system into Ukraine. So it's been in service less than 24 hours, and Ukraine has destroyed it. War Gonzo reports a couple of minor changes. They do report that the Ukrainian armed forces basically managed to counterattack southwest of Verbova and retake some of the territory that Russia had managed to take just the other day. But otherwise, everything is pretty much holding still. No changes in the lines of control. And that's pretty much everything for today. I'm going to quickly, right here in front of you, check with Knoll Report, see if they've got their latest sit rep here. There we go. I want to see if there's anything new in here. I'll scan it real fast. So you get to see some of the sausage made at this point right here. I'm going to scan down to the bottom. There we go. Russian forces were pushed back near Sinkiivka, so that's new information just as in the last hour or so. The Ukrainians have counterattacked and pushed them back from Sinkiivka itself. Kurdymiivka, the Russian forces are in control east of the railway tracks, and it looks like they're maintaining those. The Ukrainians are still maintaining the positions west of the railway. And that's the only changes we got. It's, I mean, as far as that goes, probably one of the lighter days in a while. Okay, it looks like we're going to call it quits right here. So thank you very much for joining me. Glad to have you here. If you have any comments for me, absolutely put them in the comments below. You have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you on the next video.